this video we're going to talk about creating your recruitment organisation. Recruitment organisation is important because it is fundamental to the workflows that you're going to see will underpin your recruitment solution and provide you all sorts of benefits and efficiencies. One of the problems with workflows are when you assign tasks to individuals and then those individuals are no longer working for you who have moved to different areas of your business. So to accommodate that, we have the concept of role-based workflow. So if you look in here, Jenny Jameson, for example, is an employee role. If we open her appointment, you can see that she's employed as the recruitment manager in the head office. So why this is important is because when we have a workflow item that says, perform a reference check review, which may be a function of a workflow or a pipeline, perform that review, we assign it not to Jenny, we assign it to the recruitment manager in the head office. So why we do that is because Jenny may move on, Jenny may be promoted to other positions, and then when that happens, then of course clearly we don't want that function or task that we were going to assign to Jenny being the recruitment manager, we don't want them assigned to her, we want them assigned to the recruitment manager. So that means, as I said, when Jenny moves on and a new person takes on that position, then that new person is automatically assigned those tasks. You notice too that our appointments are date effective. So up until a certain date, Jenny may be the recruitment manager and then maybe has done a tremendous job and has been appointed to the sales manager post that date. So we would see a history of her appointments. And that date effectiveness is also respected by the workflow. So that a workflow task, an option that needs to be performed, never falls through the cracks because it always lands on a particular appointment. So it's the concept of role-based workflow. So every employee in your business is assigned an appointment. What I didn't point out, which I will point out now, is your appointment is also consistent not just of the position, but of the position where that work site is, head office. So that allows us to cater for a recruitment business that maybe operates in many locations. And that means too that we can have workflow that isn't always recruitment manager focused, because maybe a recruitment manager in a different location is performing a slightly different role. So again, the appointment is date effective. The appointment is a join between the location, what we call work site, and the position that that person's employed as. And then finally, we have the concept of the structure, the org structure. And you can see here that we're representing the organizational structure of the Squirrel Talent recruitment business according to this display here. So here, John is the manager of Jenny and Edward, and Jenny is the manager of Amanda. So that, for example, when Edward wants to apply for leave, his leave application will go to John, being his manager. So there are a number of functions within the workflow where a manager needs to approve it. Where we manage that through the reporting relationships. And we create those reporting relationships in our organizational structure. So I'm going to show you now in our clean system that we're building how we created the structure that you can see represented in the screen here. So again, only your account administrators have access to this, but in the settings menu, work sites. So remember, we came in here and we defined our company previously with our banners and our detail. Now we're setting up the work site. So your recruitment business can have many work sites. When we define the initial solution for you, we create a work site called head office, and you can come in and change that name. So remember, you could have many work sites. You might have work sites locations determined by the branches that you operate. Maybe those branches are in different states. That's hence why we can have many work sites within your recruitment business. So we can just, this information is not that important in terms of where it is. The important is the work site name. It certainly becomes important when we're putting workers out into work sites, because different tax laws happen based on the work site and the state or the city or the country of the work site. So while not important for your recruitment business, when we get into doing your contingent labour and solution, then you will see that work sites take on a different dimension. But here we have work site head office. Now what we're going to do is we're going to create the positions that we operate in our work sites. So to add our new positions, we simply click on our worksite. We have a position tab. We select add. So remember we had a sales manager. Notice here it automatically joins the name of the position being the location in the position. We also had recruitment manager. And finally, we'll add our recruitment consultant. So now we've got our 4 positions. The next step is to determine the reporting relationships. So just remind you, it's the reporting relationship that we're going to define here. So the recruitment manager reports to the sales manager, the business development consultant reports to the sales manager, and the recruitment consultant reports to the recruitment manager. So let's go and do that. So to do that, we click on organization, and you see we've got a managing position and a managed position. So we go add. Our managing position is the sales manager, and his sales manager is managing the recruitment manager and is also managing the business development consultant. So we've done that. Then we've got to do, who does the recruitment manager manage? So we have the recruitment manager is managing the recruitment consultant. So we now have got our reporting relationships defined, and then the next step is to then add our employees into the system. So we're going to do that in the next video. So let's just recap. We want to create reporting relationships. And in addition to that, those reporting relationships are going to be appointment based. And the reason that we're going to be appointment based is because when we assign tasks in the workflow, we assign them to a position, not an individual. Hence, if the individual moves, the workflow doesn't stop. It continues to find and allocate the tasks to the right people based on the position. Each of our members in our business are assigned to a given appointment. That appointment itself is date effective. The appointment they're assigned to determines the manager, and as I mentioned, date effective. So if Edward Paul was to move to a different position in the future, we would simply end date this appointment, and we would add them to a new appointment, and the system would continue to work through the workflows. Nothing falls through the cracks. The appointment relationship is defined, as we said, in the organization, and we can see that graphically. It's not only important for the workflow for not failing because we're appointment based, but it also enables us to use workflow when we need approvals being handled by our managers. Maybe Edward is applying for leave. Maybe Edward is adding a new job, and depending on the margin of the job requires the sales manager to approve that. The reporting relationships are what enable that kind of functionality to exist. Hopefully that explains why we first must now set up our work sites and our positions and those relationships, because they are going to become fundamental to our workflow processes going forward, and we're going to be getting there shortly in subsequent videos. Thank you very much.